All right, y'all. We are back. We got talking about the 2024 National Championship playoff bracket for the D1A College Men's Bracket, man. This is going to be a great one. Got a chance to see it. It's happening this weekend, and I love the fact that we got the bracket for this one ready to go because I think this is going to be an interesting match. So I'm not going to put any music for this one, but I'm going to break this down from east to west on who's going to be playing this week. So on the west side, all right, let's take a bit. West Philadelphia, born and raised. No, not really. But, all right, but this weekend, we got on the west side, we got St. Mary's taking on Grand Canyon. All right, St. Mary's number 1 seed, top of the league. Grand Canyon number 8 seed on this one. Cal is taking on Cal Poly. BYU is taking on UCLA. Central Washington is taking on Arizona. All right, so looking at this one, again, if you hadn't had that chance, you can check it from the CRAA, College Rugby Association of America website. They have it with the listings, and it takes a little bit. I'm not going to lie, college rugby is very difficult to be able to follow. Shout out to Alex Goff for doing so much on being able to cover that from the men's side at least, and Jackie Finland and Wendy Young on the women's side as well. But man, it is so tough, but I'm going to do the best that I can. This first game, St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. This one is a really big one. Now, St. Mary's is a traditional powerhouse. They have been in the winning mix for ages. It's a small school, but they always seem to be locked up with talent. Grand Canyon, on the other hand, is a team that has been slowly finding its rise, finding its way into D1A. I don't know as much about Grand Canyon, but I know that they have always been in the mix. I think last year or 2 years ago, they made it to the Final 4, the Final 8, something to be able to watch. That being said, man, this St. Mary's team has been absolutely annihilating teams. All right, absolutely annihilating teams. Just spread scores against it in their western on the West Coast. I feel like St. Mary's is going to be able to dominate since they're going to be playing at home as well too. Dominate this one. Look for St. Mary's to move on to the Elite 8, I guess is what you would call, to defeat Grand Canyon on this one. Next up, we got Cal versus Cal Poly. Once again, Cal Poly as a team, small school, but they've been a team that has been in the mix. But again, this is a tough competition because Cal, for a moment, I thought Cal had kind of fallen off for a little bit. Like, they just weren't what they were. I mean, I know like 2-3 years ago, or maybe last year, they won the 2023 national not last year, I'm sorry. That I know that they won a few years ago. They were in competition. But no, because they didn't win, because Navy won last year and then Army the year before that. But again, Cal puts out buku talent, always is a conversation. Of course, they're a traditional powerhouse, but I thought they just had fallen off. Sometimes it happens to the best of them. Nah, man. Cal absolutely has been destroying teams and destroying some of the teams that are in this damn competition in and of itself. So looking into that alone, man, I got Cal moving on to the Final 8. Cal Poly losing this one, probably big as well. Man, I think I saw a 58-0 or 116-0 win that Cal had against a pretty solid team. I got to go back and look at their Instagram because it's the only way to do it. But it's like, my God, Cal is running rickshaw on these mugs. All right. Next up, BYU taking on UCLA. Look, UCLA actually has been doing pretty well. I think they just narrowly got in to the playoffs. BYU, again, has been a traditional powerhouse team, but they're not as good as they were. They're kind of what I thought. They're kind of doing what I thought Cal was going to be like. But, I mean, that being said, they have a history of it. They've already beat UCLA once already and pretty significantly. And UCLA, again, is one of those teams that are they're above average, but they're not competitive enough to go against the best. So I look at BYU to be able to move on this one. I don't think it's going to be a very dominating game. I think BYU is going to struggle a little bit, but they're at home. UCLA going to go to over to Utah. And yeah, I think BYU wins this one, moves on. And then lastly, you got Central Washington versus Arizona. Again, Central Washington, another powerhouse team, another team that's got scholarship or has had scholarships. Arizona, again, a team that is above average, but is not good enough to be in the elite levels. Central Washington has Central Washington over Arizona. Not much to really delve into that one. All right. So I'm going to continue it on just so that you still know what my full bracket is. St. Mary's versus Cal in the Elite Eight, and BYU versus Central Washington. I think Cal absolutely dominates St. Mary's. A lot of people don't realize St. Mary's doesn't have scholarship, and it's a very small school. Cal, while they also have scholarship, but again, they've been dominating. They already beat St. Mary's. I think they're going to continue on. Usually college rugby is pretty bloody predictable. And look for Cal to move on to that one. I got BYU going up against Central Washington. Like I said before, I don't think BYU is as good as they have been in the past. I think that they are still a decent school. They are probably the worst of the best elite schools, but I think Central Washington outdoes them. And again, I think Central Washington might already have a win against BYU in this one. No, they don't have one, but I think they've had games that are similar, and I think Central Washington is just a better team. And then I got Cal going into the national championships over Central Washington. I think Cal is just the best team in the West. I don't know how they got fourth, but I think Cal is the best team in the West. All right, moving on, we're going to take a look at the East side. All right, East side. Yo, we got Navy at number 1 seed taking on Mary Washington. We got Arkansas State taking on Davenport, Lindenwood versus Mount St. Mary's, and Life taking on Army. All right, let's kick this off. Right off, Navy versus Mary Washington. Navy is just an incredibly formidable team. I believe that they won last year in revenge for losing to in revenge for Army winning 2 years ago. So I think we're going to see that consistency go on. I think Navy absolutely dominates in this one. Mary Washington is a good team. It's just not it's tough. It's really, really tough to be able to pull it off. Like, it is legitimately difficulty to be able to get that one the way that you really want it to do. I'm just trying to make sure I can confirm the championships last year. And it was, yes, I do declare that Navy was the one who won in 2023. Oh, this is okay. So yes, do believe we had Navy winning over. Oh my goodness, who was it? If somebody in the comments can let me know, I definitely appreciate it. Was it Navy over Army? No. But anyways, Navy is a dominant team in this one. Look for Navy to be able to move on against Mary Washington to move over to the final 8. Arkansas State against Davenport. Now, this is one that was a long-time rivalry back whenever they were both in the Mid-South. And Arkansas State, I feel, was a more powerful team at the time. Davenport was kind of a punching bag, in my opinion, their time. No offense if anybody went to Davenport. But this is one of those games that's kind of reflection of that era. I do think Arkansas State defeats Davenport. I think they already played even once this year, and I think Davenport lost. I have Arkansas State moving on to take on Navy into Sweet 8 in the final Elite 8. Got Lindenwood going about Mount St. Mary. Now, Mount St. Mary is a team that has been absolutely doing damage. They have a great schedule. They have been playing really strong teams. They've been winning a lot of games in a very, very dominating factor. And by all intents and purposes, I actually think that they have a better setup to win than Lindenwood does. That being said, I think Lindenwood wins on experience. Man, that is a team that knows how to play in the playoffs. They absolutely know how to play in the playoffs. And found it. They beat Cal. That's what it was. Navy beat Cal last year. Anyway, they know how to play in the playoffs, and I think Lindenwood knows how to turn up the season. I haven't been impressed with Lindenwood's regular season games, but again, it's also very difficult in that region. You play who you can. Obviously, they're not playing, scrubs, but they could be better. But I do think Lindenwood moves on solely on experience. But this Mount St. Mary's team is definitely going to be a test for this Lindenwood team. And last, you got Life going up against Army. Army is just not as good this year as they have been in the last couple of years. Again, 2 years ago, they won the championship. This year, I think this is going to be their struggle entrance point. I think Life has been dominating. Life is already a historically powerful team in college men's rugby, but I think that they actually have a rise. They've been kind of slipping a little bit last year. By slipping, I mean just not as good, but still more dominant than literally 99.95% of teams. But I think Life wins this one and moves on to take on Lindenwood. All right, I'm going to break down the rest of it. I think I got Life versus Lindenwood in the Elite Eight. I think Life wins. Culture, man. It's culture. Life just seems to have the mental fortitude against Lindenwood, and I think Life moves on. Arkansas State versus Navy. I think Navy is going to be coming to protect their championship run and go for a back-to-back, absolutely dominating Arkansas State. I think Navy is just significantly more powerful. Navy goes on to the semifinals against Life University. Once again, Life versus Navy. I think this is going to be an amazing game if it happens. Should be a championship game, but I think Life overtakes Navy in this one in a close game. Navy unable to repeat as champions. Life will go on to take on Cal, but I look for this one. I think Life ends up winning the national championship this year, getting another one under their belt, absolutely dominating in college rugby and showing that they are still the team and the program to take it all, because the women are absolutely killing it as well too. So let me know what you guys think about this. Like, where do you guys feel like this is going to go? Where do you feel like the championships are? And for any other bracketology, hit me up. Let me know. We'll talk about it for the next time. But I think this one is one that is going to be a good bracket. I think this will be a good one. And
don't you love a great ketogenic family? My name is Gifte Belu. I'm here with Health Enhanced Food. I wanted to talk to you about one of our top baking mixes, and that is our ketogenic baking mixes. We got a ketogenic seed baking mix, our ketogenic almond baking mix, and of course, our ketogenic coconut baking mix. Now, what is so important about it being ketogenic? Now, for those who don't know, ketogenic means that it is utilizing low carbs to be able to eat from. The point of it is so that your body will naturally activate burning from your fat and be able to sustain off your proteins rather than feeding your body carbohydrates and your body simply burning that and you just don't lose weight. And so whenever you're doing that process, it's incredibly difficult. And of course, you're always going to have a craving for wanting to eat the breads and the carbs that you typically would have. With our keto baking mixes, you can have the pancakes, the waffles, the cookies, the cakes, the pizza crust that you absolutely desire without sacrificing the work, your diet, and obviously the results that you are trying to get. All our ketogenic baking mixes are gluten-free, grain-free, plant-based, and absolutely loaded with natural vitamins and minerals. We want to make sure that they are low net carb, they have no added sugar, they are protein rich, they have good healthy fats, but even more importantly, they have a
Low
glycemic level. So for those who are diabetic and you're also still trying to find something, we have the baking mixes that are for you. And I'm sure you're wondering, why make 3 versions of them if they all are basically doing the same thing? Well, we wanted to make sure, as always, that we are trying to specialize to your dietary need. So with our ketogenic coconut, we wanted to give you a version that allows you to have a sweeter bread without sacrificing your diet. But it provides you things that you can make with your cakes, you can make your cookies, but you can be able to not have to lose your mind trying to find things that can satiate the taste without ruining your diet. With our ketogenic almond baking mix, that is one that has probably the highest protein content. It allows you to be able to control your blood sugar levels, reduce your blood pressure, lower cholesterol levels, and of course, it goes to promoting weight loss and being able to control the hunger. And for our ketogenic seed, this is for those who have a nut allergy and they can't take anything like the almonds. So we want to give them still the same thing. You can still make your bread, you can still make your pizza crust, you can still make your cakes and your buns and your muffins, but you don't have to worry about having an allergic reaction. You definitely can go check out the ketogenic line of products at healthenhancedfoods.com. Go ahead, keep up with your diet, get the foods that are necessary to keep you going, and let's get the results that you absolutely deserve. Let's go.